So before I get started, hello everyone. ISOM1644. I mainly do Nier Automata Weaponless, and it's just going to be a tutorial for probably all the tricks and skips that we know of at the time of recording. So there might be some new things that are found out about Weaponless. But I'll try to go over what's done in the current route and what can be done if you can't really do all the skips easily. So first thing is first. This is debug mode. It's just so that I can phase jump and skip some stuff. Or if I want to pause the game, I can. Or if I want to redo a section. That's the main thing. The main differences that we know of between debug and the main game is that if you press RB and back on an Xbox controller, I think it's this R1 and select on PlayStation, and I forget entirely what it is on keyboard mouse. It brings up this menu, which you can then go around, look at some different things. For example, this is all the common information, and then there's a bunch of different settings as well. None of them really matter that much, so just keeping it on 0. Anyways, let's start a new game. Normal is the normal difficulty, but you can do hard or very hard or easy. There's not really a category restraint on that. So it's just that most of the time when you're selecting, it defaults to normal, so we do normal. The main thing that needs to be shown either at the beginning of the video or at the end of the video, so long as you haven't changed it, is in the settings under game, the partner NPC style should be passive. So that's really it. Also, hello Jeff. If it is not passive, then it is not a valid run, except maybe long range, but I'm still not certain about that. The reason why is because you cannot unequip 9S's weapon until part B. So when you hit finish ending A, you're going into ending B. That is the only time you can change out 9S's weapon. And if he attacks with his weapon, that means you are not doing the entire game without weapons. And that's the reason why you have to show this. Everything else doesn't really matter. I usually just show the controls so that anyone who wants to do this can see what I'm doing. And I also have a control scheme layout on screen to show what buttons are being pressed at any time. Alright, let's get started by starting the game and then immediately skipping all this because I don't like the shoot 'em up. But
Everything that lives is designed to end. We are perpetually trapped in a never-ending spiral of life and death.
And that's always a fun thing to listen to. The first one is the Prologue tutorial. Basically, the shoot 'em up for Weaponless is the exact same for any percent, so there is no differences when it comes to shoot 'em ups. Even GRUN is the same. So just you can skip them easily.
Alert. Large enemy group detected.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Okay, so this is kind of a fun thing. There are 5 stubbies right in front of me, and the first thing that you have to do is you have to unequip all of your weapons immediately. And the way to do that is you have to go into the menu, go to weapons, and unequip it. The first instance you can actually go into the menu is when the stubbies jump twice. So halfway through their second jump is actually when the system menu is open. The other way to time it is you do 2 full dashes, and then that's it. From here, just go to the weapons, either going to weapons, bare fist, and equipping it to all the slots here, or going to weapon set and just equipping bare fist here. The thing is that you can actually just mash A during this entire thing, as it will automatically go to bare fist. But you have to just switch to the next one each and every single time. Oops, I forgot one weapon. The only way you can continue onwards is when both weapon set 1 and weapon set 2 show bare fists, in which case you then press start to exit the menu. From here, there are 5 stubbies in front of me, and this whole part is quite annoying, as the stubbies love to do ninjas, which is basically backdashing away from you. So to combat this, you can either taunt them, or just hope and pray while attacking them that they don't give you ninjas. Now, since this part is a lull, I'll explain the combats. Oh wait, I forgot. Once you finish the shoot 'em up, you have 100 EXP. So, combat-wise, 2B's combat is mostly going to be the following 2 things: a dash punch and punching twice and weapon swapping. Or punching once and weapon swapping. So dash punch is the following: you dash and then you punch. Basically what happens is when 2B is in sprinting animation, like this, her punch actually hits 3 times, while normal standing punch only hits once. So if you do a dash punch like this, you'll sometimes not hit all the time. You'll sometimes instead just hit twice instead of 3 times. And the reason why this is done is because of something called knockback. So whenever an enemy is 6 levels higher than your current player level, or whenever an enemy has a shield, like when you're fighting Boku-shi or So-shi, or when you're fighting just a random biped who's carrying a shield, or one of the stubbies who's carrying a shield, you will automatically get pushed back whenever you punch an enemy. This is an issue when you are doing the more common way of doing damage, which is punching twice and then weapon swapping. As what will happen is you'll hit your first punch probably once, and then your second punch will miss entirely, leading to a fourth of the total amount of DPS that you could possibly do. A dash punch most of the time will hit twice, but sometimes hits 3 times. So due to that fact, we do dash punching. The overall statistics are that weapon swap punching twice deals about 4.7 times the normal punch. So a normal punch is whenever I hit this guy once. So that 51 damage that I dealt to him is the normal punch. So if I do punch twice and then weapon swap, it's 51 multiplied by about 4.7. So it's that much damage every second is essentially dealt to him through punching, while dash punching is about, if I remember correctly, 3.4 times. Those are the main 2 ways of dealing damage, and the only other one is Beauvoir, because Beauvoir is a really tall person, and so what we do there is you jump, punch, punch, jump, punch, punch, or if you're Amei, you jump, punch, weapon swap, punch, punch, jump, punch, weapon swap, punch, punch. I can't do that consistently yet, but I'm still learning that. This part, there's if you're good at taunting, you can taunt these guys while you're attacking them, which what you're going to do is you're going to dash and then punch them. If you taunt them, they die in 1 dash punch. If you don't taunt them, they die in a dash punch punch. So, for example, dash punch punch, he's dead. He's taunted, dash punch. I'm not entirely that fast, so I usually don't taunt them. This guy, you taunt him, and then just do weapon swapping and hope he doesn't do anything. Not very much to say there. This next part is Marx. Marx is an RNG fest. The fastest you can do kill him is about 43 seconds. You'll normally get about 45 seconds, and then because stuff happens, you can also get 50 seconds. But the strats are still about the same. You shoot him while he's going overhead and then resetting. If he goes straight at you, you shoot him and then punch when he's not hitting you. Well, he's not doing any damage to you. And if he swings his arm sideways, horizontally across, then you can punch him at the beginning and then dodge to get closer to him when he hits the ending part of it. And then punch him then easily. If he puts his arm out center and then moves it towards you and then back, you cannot do anything, and that is the worst RNG to get. Wastes like, I want to say 4 seconds. It's really annoying. So it's just hoping and praying. To show all of them, I will just turn on enemy doesn't take any damage.
Is that our target?
Negative. This enemy is unrelated. Proposal. Dispatch it as swiftly as possible.
So this one, he's going to punch straight over here. When it's done, just do this. Now normally you would buff up, but since he doesn't take any damage, this one is also good RNG. This is the worst RNG, that you cannot do anything until that's done. And then this is the other one, which is okay RNG.
Laser communications recovered.
Okay. Let's turn on so he can take damage again.
Program download complete.
No, I'll
Alright, now the fun stuff. So, in any percent, we go over to this rock, somehow clip through it, jump up to that rock over there, to then jump over there. That's known as crane skip skip. I currently don't know if you can actually get through this rock, but I highly doubt it, so it's easier to go over here. This is crane skip. This is probably the scariest skip if you mess it up, because you have to do a pod launch. The way it works is you do a lift, jump, pod launch. The reason why it's scary is because you're shooting, and if you shoot this with your pod launch, you knock it down, and you can't restart it, so you go the normal way. So basically, you're just doing this twice. It's a lift, jump, pod launch, and then a dash. Sometimes your pod launch gets up there, sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't really need to be delayed at all. It can be an immediate. It's easier if it's delayed, but 2B just grabs, ledge grabs most of the time. Anyways, that's crane skip. Continuing onwards.
2B?
Oh yeah, routing.
Ma'am,
What is it?
I was going to send you the map data I collected earlier.
Do it.
A, 2B. Thank you, 2B. Okay. So, routing wise, when you're looking over here, for some really dumb reason, 2B actually will dash punch and try to attack the crane right over there. So, you do dash, and then you punch, you'll go to the left. So instead, just dash twice, and then jump. From here, you can dash once, punch, and then you're already close enough to jump up here. Dash, punch, dash, jump, dash. It's easier routing because you're moving fast, but you're still getting in a punch, which is the faster form of movements. Well, the fastest form of movement you can do throughout the entirety of Weaponless. Then here it's like 1 or 2 dash punches, and you enter here to Silo 2. To explain what a dash punch is, when it comes to movement rather than combat, a dash punch in combat is you let the entire duration of the punch go. Dash punch in movement, you don't. To easily show as to where you end it, I need shockwave, but most of the time I won't get shockwave, so instead, we'll just do an overhead. But looking backwards, you'll see there are 3 parts to 2B's punch. A part where the punch is next to her face, the right side of her face, right in front of her face, and then just the follow through, which is past that part, in front of her face. Stop looking that way. It's hard to see really fast, but I will turn on the capturing of my cursor. But anyways, 2B stop. The punch will go here, then it will go about here, and then it will go about here. Those are essentially the 3 phases of the punch. When it is here, you've done about 1 or 2 punches. When it is here, it's about 2 or 3 punches, and then here is the full 3rd punch. It's like 1, then 2, and then 3, something like that. Anyways, the important thing to know is that when you're doing a dash punch, you want to stop the dash punch when it is in front of 2B's face, because you don't want that 3rd punch to actually go off. You're not gaining any distance from it. Shows just a normal punch and a dash punch. Basically, there's a point where she just stops moving entirely, and that's the point when the fist goes right in front of her face. So what we do is we dash again right after that. So dashing, punch, dash again. But it's like that. When you have shockwave, it's very easy to tell that you're doing it correctly. When you don't have shockwave, it's a little bit trickier to tell. But essentially, just to know when the dash is supposed to come, it'll go right in front of her face, and then you'll dash when it's right in front of her face. When it's shockwave, if the shockwave doesn't show and you're punching right in front of 2B's face, you've done it correctly. Alright, let's do Silo 2. So to explain this, there are going to be 6 stubbies that are dropping from the sky, and we need to kill all of them really quickly. What's nice about this is we can actually slow-mo those stubbies so they don't jump away from us by ninjing us. So, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to shoot the first one and then slow-mo punch twice all the others. I don't know if this is fastest, but it's very consistent, and I like it.
Exit confirmed closed.
So open.
Negative. Nearby enemies are jamming our signal.
Nothing's ever easy.
Okay, and then from here, we shoot this guy and taunt him. And then run around in a circle. Usually after running around in a circle, these guys line up into 3, and then you can just kill them. This is something that Mura does, and what happens is that the flyers, when you're running around in a circle, usually clump up together towards the center of the map, because it takes a while for them to catch up to you. So essentially what you're doing is you're running around a circle around the entire silo, just so that the flyers are trying to catch up to you to attack you, so they all line up so that you can laser them. Afterwards, it's just normally killing these stubbies that shoot you, And then the final one, you just laser because it's easier than dash punching to where he's at. And then probably the hardest skip in the game for
I'm glad you're
weaponless,
here.
bridge skip.
Scanners like me mostly work alone. Scouting out enemy lines and all that, I don't usually get a partner. It's kind of fun.
Emotions are
Great
prohibited.
bridge skip.
Sorry, man.
And another thing, stop calling me ma'am.
So
It's unnecessary.
All right then.
to do bridge skip, you technically don't really need to do a huge delayed lift at all. But delayed lifts do help a bit. To explain the difference, this is a lift, or more of an instant lift, because 2B basically doesn't jump that much before starting the lift. A delayed lift is where you jump, and then you do the actual lift. So it looks like this. And if you look at the top, you can see like the rungs over here. It just tells you like as to how high 2B is actually going. And with the lift, it's not really that high, but if you do a delayed lift, you go really high. So, if you stand here and don't do anything, and then do a lift, and then you do a delayed lift, jump, pod lunge over here, and dash. That is the actual movement for it. What Amei does is that there's a spot right here where 2B will drop slightly downwards. Slightly downwards. Somewhere around here. I can't exactly remember where it is, but somewhere on this random pipe, 2B just randomly clipped into it, so you can do lift and then another lift. I don't entirely remember where it's at. I'd have to relook at his video. But this is the one that I do. You stand here, you don't do anything, and then you do a lift, and you automatically can do another lift. Now for the hard part. So, what's going on is that you're doing a double lift, and then you're doing a pod launch. To do an effective pod launch, you need to jump and then wait. To explain as to where to wait, looking sideways at 2B, you'll notice that she moves her legs over her when she's moving forward. When you see her legs go over her head, that's when you do the pod launch. Now for aiming, you need to somehow aim within this spot right here because it's an invisible wall here and here. And you're basically aiming to hit something around here so that when you dash, you clip the top of that and you regain your 2 jumps. That's it. So it's basically the hardest skip in the game. And if you go this way, that's fine. It's a lot easier than doing a double lift. That's the movement that I do for it. Basically, once you hit the top, I do a jump, pod spin, another jump, dash, and then a plunge. It's not entirely needed, but for me, it gets all the way across, and it's pretty fast. The other way you could do it is just 2 pod spins. Jump, pod spin, dash. Or just 2 pod spins in general. Doesn't matter. You have all this stuff because you touch the ground. From here, you can do 1 dash punch because once you hit here, you're going to target onto this. For some random reason. You can't dash punch anywhere inside of this room. Actually, except for about here. Interesting. So maybe it's like dash, punch, dash, punch. That's fine. Now there are 2 methods. This one, which is remotes, and then this one over here. If you're a maniac, do this one. It's a lot more difficult. Basically, you have to do a perfect delayed lift, jump, and then plunge. It's basically perfect, so if you're a maniac, you can go for it. I'm actually more consistent at that one for some reason. Maybe I've just practiced it too much. Next one's over here. You have like a sprinting start, do a lift, jump, pod spin over, jump, and then plunge. What's happening is that you're getting a double lift off of lifting on the stairs. So then you can go over to this location and then easily just get over the height requirement right over here to get out of the top-down view so you can then flip into this area. Now all this part's basically the same as any percent. You just dash punch and then pod launch right into here. If I can pod launch. And then you just dash punch the rest of the way. Oh, I should explain this. Okay. So, you'll notice later on in the video that there will be sometimes I'll do a plunge, and other times I will just do a dash. The reason as to why I do a plunge is because it gets you faster to the ground. But you could also just fall to the ground. Both work fine. They're about the same speed. The only difference, realistically, is the plunge gets you to the ground faster, while falling doesn't get you to the ground faster. But since you have an animation before doing the plunge, it could also mean that the plunge is slower. So, realistically, it's just preference as to whether you'd rather just dash and fall down, or dash and then plunge. Alright, continuing onwards, we now have this part. So this is God Laser. Basically, you're just trying to get all these stubbies into this corner. Depending upon which side the pod is on, same as any percent. Alright, this part, I'm gonna jump in the air and pause. This is the most annoying section to do correctly. This part right here. Because these guys do not cooperate. To explain what's going on, there are two medium bipeds that have shields. You need to break both of their shields off and kill them as fast as possible. The easiest way to break both of their shields off is to do a counterattack on them with 2B. As it can, theoretically, break their shields in one hit. But you have to hit both of them at the same time to do this correctly. So you go over here, taunt them, get them to attack you, dodge it. Well, that didn't work, but whatever. Basically, you do that, and then you can just punch into them. Next is just a laser, have a lineup for it, and you kill. Then you go down over here, kill all these ones by dash punching twice. Then you kill these guys, again, dash punching. You go up over here and shoot these guys with a laser. Not much to explain there. And now we have a lull time in the entirety of this. So, if you guys have any questions, ask them. If you want me to repeat any part that I did, I can. After this point, we're just going to Engels and skipping all of his stuff because it's boring.
Is that?
You mean the birds? Yeah, there's more plants and animals here than there used to be. Probably because the environment's changed. There should be another facility across that bridge. It's a bit of a hike, but should we check it out? It's not like Command to get a location wrong. I guess even they get bad intel from time to time, huh?
I wouldn't bet on that.
Alright, guess not. So this is a fun one. You can shoot this guy and deal damage to him.
I'll just take him.
Because, yeah. Oh, like the best explanation for why that works. You listen, you hear that, and you shoot him again. And that's basically beating this guy very quickly. Alright, let's go over what actually happened during that entire fight. Awesome. Okay, so a reset, but didn't actually spawn them. Works with me. So essentially what happens is there are two Marx arms. One over here, and one way up over here. This one is going to attack and do a zigzag pattern back and forth along the ground to try and attack you. It's very simple to dodge. Literally, I just stand right about here, and he attacks about here to about here. Anyways, since I'm at this approximate angle, I can go and shoot the one that's coming this way, and I can shoot the one that's up in the air. They share one health bar, so if I shoot both of them at the same time, the laser hits twice, allowing me to deal more damage to them. Also, fun fact, I don't have a laser because I did a phase jump. Thanks, game. So, that's how this strat works. Another way of doing it is you can just lock onto this guy, wait for him to come and try to attack you, and then dodge at the last second, and then do a pod counterattack or a melee counterattack. Doesn't matter as to which that much. And then you deal a fair amount of damage to him. This part's basically the same. When it ends about here, you just punch twice weapon swap to deal a ton of damage to it, and then shoot it as it's going away. The fun fact, though, is that when you hear the second Marx arm coming down, you'll hear it just activating. If you just walk back, dash away from it, you can then do a lift, a jump, and then a laser, and hit both of them at the same time as they are setting up for the next attack. This just allows you to deal more damage in general. And that is essentially how this strat works. You're just dealing a ton of damage. The one that I showed off where I did the double laser going this way and then the double laser going that way, it finishes it in about 41 seconds, where the counterattack one finishes in about 43 seconds. Still, both are pretty fast, as it does only do a one cycle of the entire Marx 2 fight. Let us go on to Engels. Not really much to explain throughout this part of it. We're just trying to deal as much damage to him as possible, because this is all RNG. So long as he does a laser attack as his final attack after the cutscene, then basically GG. You can slow-mo this to try and make it so that Engels does not do punches during his final phase, but it's still RNG. If you get punches, you lose about 20 seconds or so. If you don't get punches, you don't lose 20 seconds. If it's a laser, it's like
Provide support.
it's 0-second time loss. If he claps, it's about 2-second time loss. If he does punches, it's about 20+ second time loss.
Enemy attack from below. Proposal.
Over here, there's pipes you can do. So if you walk right here and then jump twice when he's attacking, you do right pipe. For weaponless, just constantly shoot him. Not really much else you can do. If you get this, you can do a double laser on him. That's the only thing, I guess. Left pipe is basically the same thing. You walk at the center of it, and then when he's about to attack, jump, and then you're in. I messed it up slightly. I jumped a little bit downwards a bit, but I didn't get up. Anyways, it's more of just a swag strat.
Hacking in.
You don't always threshold Engels, but if you just shoot him with your pod, most of the time you'll get really close to the end.
Box signal detected. No response to community.
Yeah, that was a random cutscene there. This is just dash punch till you're on here. Then you can dash, and after the dash, you just do a heavy. You're completely fine. You hit the cutscene. You could also jump it. Doesn't matter that much. Continuing onwards, over here, dash punch, dash, lift, jump, dash. And now you're here. Hello. These guys will try to attack you, but it don't matter that much.
Send a support request to command.
So essentially what's happening is you can do a double lift on these stairs. Oh, cool, that guy just fell off from the sky. Oh, nice. I'm just gonna kill him. What stuff? Oh, he just fell off the map. Well, I guess that means that if you really feel like it, you can jump that way off the map. Anyways, continuing on this. So, what happens is you're doing a lift here, and then you're doing another one, because your head basically touched the ground. And that's the indicator that you got your lift back. You jump, and since there is no wall here, you're completely fine to just get here. Now usually there's a stubby here that goes and attacks you. You can just double twice and then dash and you're here. The other way is just dash and then jump twice. Doesn't matter which one you do, as both work completely fine. Now you jump twice, press B and jump twice again. And you're here. If you're amazing, you can do a pod launch to get wish angles, but I don't recommend that, as that is very, very, very just not consistent. Instead, just do a dash punch, and then dash, jump twice onto this ladder, jump up, and dash into the cutscene. From here, stubbies, taunt them. As the ones that are falling from the sky, you shoot them. And now everything is over in this corner, and everything dies easily. As most of the time, they don't jump away. And then, well, there's just this part. This part's basically the same as any percent. Deal as much damage to them as possible. Go to his backside to get less attacks. And spam the shortcut menu if necessary, as that will slow down the animation of angles, but it will allow the dialogue to continue for a couple of seconds.
I didn't know the machines had that kind of intelligence.
I found a weakness in the target. Hacking in to provide support.
So this next dialogue by 9S is the one we want to slow down, because essentially what we want to have happen is we want 9S's dialogue to end right at the same moment that Engels is doing the next attack.
Use your pod. Should be able to take it over.
I told you to shut up!
Sometimes you get it perfect, sometimes you don't really have much luck.
Seized from enemy unit. Marking weak point. Got
Yeah. It's kind of a feeling thing.
Control system.
Affirmative. Infiltrate.
And just for the heck of it,
Being
you want to try for
stable
Engels
adjusted.
double hit.
Balance
That's the
controls
most important
overridden.
thing out of
Enemy
all
unit
speedruns, to
subjugation
not
complete.
get. I missed it by a frame. Just 2 cutscenes here. Okay, so now for the fun part. Once you gain control of 2B, right after the cutscene, when you pause it, you actually won't go back into the system cutscene. So instead, just dash, then you can pause. Go into your weapons, and you can unequip your weapons. That's one location to do it. The other one is after you talk to 9S for the second time, so like after you do the menu boss stuff. You dash into 9S, and then when you dash out of him, or before you do all that stuff, you need to pause the game, and you need to unequip your weapons. This one is easier because if you do a punch at any random point during it, you won't actually use your weapons. For example, this is weapon set 1. I don't know why it happens, it just does. Alright.
Not big for.
Have much.
I see.
Then you just mash A during this part because we don't. It's banned to connect to the network, and saving takes time. The only allowed part for connecting to the network is during ending E, right at the end of the game, because it saves a shit ton of time.
All right. Are we? Oh. Okay. What?
Yay, I got the whole B to skip.
Morning.
Totally useless, but always worth for me. And this is just mashing through dialogue, because 9S loves to talk.
Look at that.
I.
Oh. Don't.
Nice.
Huh?
There.
Oh, we.
Alright, so basically at this point you can pause the game and go into your weapons, or you can dash into 9S and then dash out and do the same thing again. Doesn't matter. You have to unequip your weapons at some point during this section, because otherwise you'll be using a weapon and it's no longer a weaponless run at that point. No one's going to be mad at you for doing it on your first try. It's just more like when you're doing a really good run and you're like, oh, I forgot to unequip my weapons. F my life.
You need to be near an
Oh, I
access
forgot
point
to
save your data.
Tell
You can see
9S to
access
not
points
tell
on
me
the
about
close-range
access
map.
points.
Be sure to save often.
Why, thank you, 9S. I will definitely save twice.
Yeah. You. I need.
Doesn't
So under.
So if you're worried about money, you can get the
That means we'll be getting flight units
$3,000
up.
there,
Better head for the
or
hangar.
3,000 gold,
Usually we
but
can't get
that
near
doesn't matter
flight
too
units.
much.
They're way too expensive for us grunts. Too bad they can't mass produce these things yet.
As it's not needed at all during this run.
A2B, why do you think they sent a combat model like you to a recon jump?
Actually, you know what? I don't want to do this. Get out of here, 9S. Telling me about how scanners are so much better than combat models. Just doesn't know about how good combat is. So what happens there is you'll see the tail of the flight unit line up with the flight unit kind of side of it. You can hit a frame before it lines up or right when it lines up, and that's how you skip the ending part of this cutscene. It's not that long, because if you miss it, you miss it. It's really annoying. Pod program. Oh, it still has laser. Okay. Well, prologues that messed up. From here, just dash, either dash punch or just dash twice. Doesn't matter as to which. I dash twice, and then I do a lift, jump, dash, punch, dash, punch. From here, this is just a lot of dash punching.
Proposal. Proceed to target location.
To know, this basically shows you how well you're doing on your movement.
Not even a cutting-edge Yorha like
As
you would survive that kind of fall.
when you start
Try
the
not to
side
act so
quest
recklessly,
missions,
all right?
you
According to our intel, none
okay,
of the machines
thanks,
in this
game.
area are hostile. We've been seeing more and more enemies like this lately.
Actually, I
They
should
just
go
stand
back
there
and
and
show
stare
this.
into space. It's pretty weird.
Shut up, Max. So basically, once you go into the resistance camp, from there until you hit the desert housing cutscene, there's takes 6.5 minutes, for like the really on like a good pace. But if you beat it within 7 minutes on your first try, nice. That basically means that your movement is pretty good, because most of this is all about movement. This is where you know if you're doing fairly well or not. So full details as for how dash punching works. We basically need to get into sprinting animation as fast as possible from a dash. The first frame that you know you're doing a sprinting animation is when 2B puts her right foot down. It's easier to see on the back view because you'll just see that her right foot goes down. For dash chaining, we do 2, because that means that you've hit the sprinting animation. You get like a slight boost on your dash rather than not being sprinting. So then it's just the punch. That basically means when you put your right foot down, you then are going to punch until you hit the frame where you're supposed to go and dash again. That's basically how you know you're doing pretty decent dash punching. The other thing is kind of an auditorial thing. You'll hear 2 steps in total when you're going through grass. So it'll just sound like a dun and then another dun, because that means that 2B took a step, and then the punching animation also takes another step. It sounds really weird when you first do it, and it looks weird, might somewhat feel weird, because you're not pressing the dash. You're pressing the dash key like a couple frames after you press the punch. So it's like, well, why am I punching then? But it is faster. Essentially, dash punching is the same as VC to dash winging. So you're basically on pace with any percent during this part. Now for the next part, we need to get from about here to up there. There's a couple different methods. One is you jump and then dash onto this, and then you get a double jump to get up here. I never really liked that one, because I always found out that you can just dash right into this, get into sprinting animation, and then you can just do a double jump and dash. You can just get up here. Another easy one is you dash, you jump, do a pod spin. The pod spin one loses time though, and if you do get a ledge grab, you also lose time. So just know that at your own risk. Afterwards, jump twice, dash, and then plunge, or just dash normally off this. Fun facts, if you dash punch and then dash afterwards, you will, that's basically buffering your dash. So you'll basically hit the ground and then immediately dash out of hitting the ground, rather than hitting the animation of being on the ground and getting out of it. So it saves some slight amount of time when you're doing a plunge. Kind of like a high-tech thing. Doesn't save much time, but it saves some amount of time. Now let's continue onwards for side quests.
So this is the resistance camp, huh? We should probably go talk to their leader first thing.
Target location data obtained. Marking on map.
Wait for joy. Okay. So, to start these quests efficiently, what you do is you talk to the leader first. She tells you, oh, you should do some side quests. The next person that you're closest to is this guy, the supply tray. So you go and talk to him, because you're about 1 dash if you do a jump. If you don't do a jump, it's about 2 dashes to him. After you talk to him, you get free time to go and talk to this guy. Just stay here, you'll get stuck, basically. And this will allow you to talk to the trader and also talk to his gearbox. After talking to his gearbox, you're then going to go over here. And because it will say mission is accepted, you can't actually talk to this woman. So we just leave afterwards. You know, we don't like her. She's ugly. She wears a machine on her head.
This must
From
have
here,
been quite a city once upon a time.
we're trying to get
Too
to
bad
this
vegetation's claimed most of it now.
bus as fast as possible. Right about where the entrance is. So about here.
Operator 60 to 2B.
From here, it's a
It's
lift,
time for your
jump,
regularly scheduled
or
contact.
just a normal
This
lift
is
and
2B.
dash,
Nothing
depending
to
upon how
report.
high you get on the lift. Oh wait, I forgot to explain that.
How's the weather on Earth
So,
today? Good?
It's fine. Does that question have
Operator
anything to
60,
do with
shut
our
up.
operation?
Not
I
really.
want to listen to
I
you.
just figured it might feel nice to have some good weather.
Feeling nice has no
She
bearing
gets
on
Skype
completing
glitch early on, so I
missions.
don't have to listen to them.
That is so like you to be. Anyway, talk to you later.
Okay. Anyways, to explain lifts a little bit more in detail. When you do a lift as 2B without any weapons, you basically gain some amount of height. However, the thing is, you actually gain more height by not doing any inputs after the lift until you start falling. So basically, if I do a lift and then jump, you'll see I like barely made it up there. If I do a lift, don't do anything, and then jump, I really made it up there easily. So for no reason in particular, to actually go fast in Weaponless, you do double lifts, double jumps, rather than lifts, unless you have to do a lift to clear the distance. And here, you can't do a double jump all the way up here. That will actually save time. You do a lift, and then dash. From here, it's 2 dashes, or you can do a dash punch, and then a dash. Doesn't matter as to which. Essentially what you're trying to do, you're trying to hit this at sprinting animation, and then dash over that. This is a lot tighter than you think it is, because essentially where you're jumping off is this ledge right here. Thanks, 9S. I always wanted to get knocked off to then try to explain this stuff. So essentially, if you're right here, you jump, you'll notice you don't actually make it over. But if you are right here, you make it over easily. And that's why you do the double jump on that little tiny ledge there, and then you can dash over this easily. If you don't make it, you'll be slightly below, and you'll have to do a pod spin to get over. Anyways, from here, it's then get
This is the place
this
that
one
weapons
right over
trader
here,
was talking about. Uh-oh. I'm
then
picking up
this one
hostile
right over
machine
here,
life forms.
then this one right over here, then this one right here.
That should be enough. Let's get these
either do a double jump or a lift to get up here to go here. You can also go this way if you need more money. There is 3 silver ore and a meteorite in a chest. Show where they are at. This is the silver ore. And this is the meteorite. This gives a total of $8,000. So, or gold. If you need it, you can get it. But I don't need it, so I'm not going to get it. Now, excuse me as I go right over here. Get that one.
Plant life is
So
quite
from
close to
here,
the central area.
you can do it
Plants, too.
the following. So from here, dash, jump, hot spin, jump, hold, dash, plunge.
I wonder if there are any huge boars and such too.
That's one way. Okay, you know what? I don't want to go all the way around. I'm gonna infinite single jump back up. Okay. So now I don't have my single jump. So that's one way to just dash first. The other way is you'll have sprinting animation. You can jump, do a pod spin, jump, hold it, and then plunge. Or you can do 2 pod spins. Doesn't matter that much. Just know there are different ways to get over this part. And the last part is just a dash and plunge. But the plunge, you basically need to be over this to actually get it to work. So do realize that your plunge does not move down. Also, 2B, I'm sorry for looking at your butt, but I am trying to show people that I'm looking up here, so I am not looking at your butt. I'm so sensitive about that. Okay, so this part's a little weird. There are 4 stubbies, only 2 of them have the quest item, and then there's medium biped. So what I do is I usually shoot over here while trying to get to this guy's attention. Taunt him. I taunt him while trying to get the other guys, and then I kill him. And then while they're all here, I shoot them all with a laser. And that's basically how I do this entire
That's
thing.
everything the supply train
Because
asked for.
what happens is that all those that are supposed to be
Man, these chores are a
enemies
real
of you
pain in the butt, huh?
will only
The
aggro
resistance
you
is
if you
a
shoot
valuable
near them.
ally to Yorha.
So I try to
By
shoot
helping
near them, and
we
since
also
I am
help
slow at
ourselves.
taunting,
So
I just wait for my
don't
taunt to
take
actually
that.
work on
Yeah,
the big guy, the medium biped, and then I kill him, and then most of the time the guys that I was trying to shoot at are right next to me, so then I just laser them, as it kills the stubbies in 1 hit. So it usually works pretty decently. Continuing onwards. This dialogue ends right about the time that you hit the resistance camp again. So this means you can now talk to that really strange woman. She's really strange. But I don't really care about anything that she has to say, so you just mash through all of her dialogue and say goodbye. Game accepts this as actually finishing her quest, which is really weird. Then you finish both of these quests by mashing through all of their dialogue. And then I don't know why this is the case, but you go and talk to this guy again, say no. We're not upgrading any of our weapons. Say yes to her, because that is the desert quest. Why does the tutorial for Weaponless say that you're supposed to go and upgrade your weapons at this guy? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. Whatever. Continuing onwards. We are actually not going to grab this because for some reason the game automatically gives it to us after we finish City Angles, I think. I don't know why we get this teleporter for free. So we don't have to grab it at any time in the game. Continuing onwards, just go back through the city ruins part, normal way.
Confirmed for location specified by Resistance Leader.
Understood, 042. Placing marker on target. The desert heat is going to make resupply efforts difficult, 2B. Please make sure you're ready before you go.
These guys can sometimes try to attack you. Fun fact, you can hit them and it will actually stop their animation. This one's weird. There is perfect, which is this way, and then there's just easy, which is this way. So, Amei does a double lift right over here, which is like, I think you're either lift, and then you do another one, and then you're up here. The issue with the double lift is actually the fact that you lose about 1/3 of a second compared to just going around this way. However, if you're the mastermind of all masterminds, you can do a delayed lift, jump, and dash up here. If you get that, it saves like 2/10 of a second or something compared to going this way. It's just why. So if you want perfection, you can do the delayed lift right here, jump, and then dash. I messed it up so often in runs that I've just decided not to do it anymore. So from here, I actually aim to this corner of the house, of the building, and just dash punch over here. And then dash punch to here. And dash punch over here. And then aim right around there, and dash punch over there. Lift off that. If you make it up here though, and are doing either perfect or double lift, from here, you dash punch this way, and you dash punch over here, over to here. And you just kind of go straight that way. Either by doing a plunge or just dashing. Neither of them really give you that much distance forward. So just know that it doesn't really save that much time, but it's kind of a nicer lineup. From here, we just go this way, over to this guy, right over here, because he's a nice guy. He wants to sell us stuff. Actually, more realistically, we want to buy stuff from him. Specifically,
What can I help?
we want to buy a couple things from him. We want to buy the sachet, we want to buy 1 animal weight, we want to buy resilience, then we want to buy 11 ranged, 11 melee, and then the rest go into medium recoveries. Now, if you're starting out on the game, you can buy 21 of melee attack ups and ranged attack ups, but I do 11 because I know how to space them out. Basically, we use 3 on Adam, melee and ranged attack ups. It's 3 on Adam. It's a bunch on Beauvoir. I think you get, trying to do math, 5 on Beauvoir. That's how much you do on that boss. You use 1 ranged attack up on Engels, city Engels. And then you use the rest of them for negotiations, because you're just trying to get rid of space. If you have taunt, just get rid of them immediately to the 1 menu and get rid of them. If you don't have taunt, space it out, because you do need the EXP from Eve, rather than trying to just get rid of the space. The other thing that I do over here is, before I do any of that, I go down to objectives. Essentially, you do this twice, and you get pretty close, or you do it once, and then just move down a bit to get to here. And I sell everything under minimap. This is due to the fact that there's an item in the next part called Taunt. Taunt can be Taunt +0, Taunt +1, or Taunt +2. there's a possibility that you get 2 taunt plus 2s or taunt plus 1s, or even taunt plus 0s, that are 11 and higher, well 9, 10 and higher in costs. If that happens, you cannot equip the taunt when you do automatic. That's the way I do it. I think Amei just looks for it. Unfortunately, in Weaponless, you actually use resilience a lot, because when you get hit by anything, you can still hit them back, which is abused in the A2 fight really horribly. Anyways, continue onwards. Grab this. You can save edit or not. Doesn't matter that much. And then we go through here, and then jump up here,
It's hard to get
and just
accurate
continue this
pictures
way.
from this. Our satellite
Now,
resolution
because
is
I'm
so
doing a
high.
tutorial thing,
Hopefully
I
we'll
want to
deploy
actually
some
grab
new
one
satellites
specific
then.
thing.
A general
This is in
idea good
glitchless.
enough.
You don't let anything get in
Not a
your
lot
way,
of
do
people
you?
know about it, unless they've done glitchless before. Stand right around here, self-destruct a bit, 9S comes here, talk to him, and then walk forward. Now you have Skype glitch, or Zoom glitch.
Report. Mail notification received from access point.
This is essentially the earliest location you can get it that is on the route. Dash twice, and then either plunge or just self-destruct. Doesn't matter as to which. You just need to get down here. I self-destruct because it's easier. There's a random hole around there. You can just dash punch over it for some reason. Just know it's there. You might hit it. If you don't know where it is, jump over it. Continuing onwards, you just go over that building, through it, and then you go over here. From here, there's a debate as to do right side or left side. Weaponless, it doesn't matter. Personally, I like right side more than left side, so I do right side. Essentially what you do is you do a lift, you jump, and then you plunge right here. And now you're out of bounds. You can do the exact same thing over here, but it's harder to aim if you don't know where to go. Essentially what it is you're jumping right on top of that little pipe, and you're just plunging straight downwards. Continuing onwards, you're going about here,
Who opens a sealed
and
gate
now
with
you're out of
explosives?
bounds,
There's gotta be an easier way. right?
and there is basically no floor from here on out. So you don't have to follow my movement, as my movement is not optimal at all. But essentially what you're trying to do is you're trying to stay on the ledges right over there. Until you hit about here. And all you're doing is just moving around on this out of bounds portion, so you don't clip back inbounds. From here, essentially you dash forward and you hit this thing. You'll see on the mini-map that there are these objective markers. This basically means you've hit the point in the game where you can now just go to the desert and continue onwards with the game. Because everything in this game basically works on triggers. And before that, if you go to the desert, you won't actually have the guy that you're supposed to have next to you so that you can continue onwards with the game. Also, 9S, why are you... whatever. From here, you can then just go right over here, and you'll hit nothing. Cool. I apparently just missed everything. I guess it's just a little bit further. Thanks, DP. Here it is. Anyways, you then go up here, and now you're at this point right here, or right here, or right around here. Doesn't matter as to where, you're just somewhere out here. There's a couple different strats to go down this first slide, so I'll just show all of them. Dash here, go down this way, clip as close to this rock as possible, and go straight
Sure is
right there.
slippery.
Second strat, starting from here, you dash again, then you go right over here, flip right into here, and then dash over that way. To explain what's happening here, it's known as left side strats. there's this little section right here that you can actually slide over. The reason as to why is actually this rock is completely a solid rock, and you can just slide entirely over it. So what you're trying to do is slide along this little ledge right here. However, if you go over this rock, you end up in air, and your slide ends up, well, done. It's no longer a slide. You essentially just stumble out of it. The problem is, if you slide in too early, like here, sometimes you won't actually make it. And then there's the third slide. We currently don't know if this slide saves any time at all, but it is very consistent. The reason as to why is because this rock is, well, stupid. Which is why we get to do the fun thing known as stupid slide. So if you slide this way, then go right over here, up here, up here, down this way, over here, down, right over this way, and then hopefully you make it all the way to here. You can then go all the way down and see those things right over there. That whole part is stupid slide. Because essentially what it is you're sliding over a rock, and for some reason you maintain all the momentum from sliding over this rock. We don't know why this occurs, but you can basically also do this. It's a swag strat, and it looks hilarious, but it's 100% consistent. Anyways, continuing onwards, blue metal slide. Essentially, if you dash right here, just right up here, and then start the sprint, you'll actually gain more speed than dashing on top of that spot, and be able to do blue metal slide very consistently. Blue metal slide, in a sense, is basically the idea that it's about right here. Essentially what we're doing is we are taking this slight hill, gaining speed off this part to go down over there, and then cutting it off and going straight to where we want to go, which is a pod that's right over there. You can cut it off early, you can cut it off slightly late, doesn't matter that much. The whole point is you go and take the speed from going towards those stubbies and then use it to get up this way. Now we have Pod C. Pod C is actually the weirdest pod in the game, in which if you do a laser going from A to C, you get a double laser, but then for some reason you can do a laser with Pod C. This is known as triple laser. Why does it work? This game's weird. Anyways, continuing onwards, we do more slides.
Careful. We've got enemies approaching.
Another slide. Whee! And final slide coming up ahead. You go up to the top of this, dash, look at these guys. About halfway through it, shoot them, line them all up, shoot these guys, and then get that final guy. The reason why we do this is because they have a possibility of dropping taunts. Doesn't matter which taunt entirely, but taunt +1 and taunt +2 are the only two that basically help. Now, you can't do stupid rock, but that's a lot harder than just jumping twice and then doing a pod launch.
It's heading for that rocky area.
Individual target ID marked.
To actually show it off, no joke, you can do it, but it's hard. I've like only gotten it once. So, I'm not even sure what causes it. Continuing onwards, over here,
What's that?
Analysis. It is the ruin of a former human residential area.
slide down
Large
this
numbers
part.
of humans resided in such concrete and metal shelters. The structures were referred to by
And
names such
now
as
you're over here.
apartment complex.
You're just kind of following those dunes downward, and then when you go up, you try not to go up as high.
Mail notification
And you want to
received
end up
from access
here.
point.
From right up over there. This is where your end goal is. In any percent, you go up this way, you do lift, and then some heavies and a plunge at the top to get to the 3rd floor. In Weaponless, you do the exact same thing 9S does. Jump here and dash into this rock. And now you're in here. It's not very consistent, but it's consistent enough so that it doesn't take too much time to do. Continuing onwards, you go over here and just kind of look right into this general vicinity, dash, and then punch. And now you're done. Get through it. Show it again. Basically, you're looking right there. Alright. There's a corner, you're just looking into it, dashing, getting sprinting animation, and punching. And then 2B just gets through it. Poor 9S, he's now stuck there. Now, you are currently at the 2nd floor of this entire place. There are 3 floors. There's one below you, and there's one above you. You need to get to the 3rd floor. So from here, you see this line here, you see this line here, and then if you look at the other wall, there's like this faded area. Well, this is a weird thing. You walk over to like this, past this halfway point. It's like something around here to here. There's no wall there at all. But if you're right here, there is a wall. Just show it off. I'm gonna use Mugen jump. Can't get through here, but you can just easily get through here. There's nothing. Now what you actually do is you go over here, you do a lift, and then you're right here. Next part, you can do a double jump, or you can just dash. Doesn't matter as to which. Double jump isn't always consistent, and dashing is fairly consistent. Basically, all you're trying to do is get onto this sand dune right here, and then you can just dash up here. Now the hard part. So, from right here, what you're going to do is you're going to aim in this direction. You're going to go over this huge gap. You don't know it yet, but this part right here doesn't look like sand. Well, it's not sand at all. It's completely nothing. So you dash, jump, do a pod spin, you jump, hold it, do another pod spin, you dash, and then you do another pod spin. You can dash, but the other pod spin just makes sure that if you messed up anywhere, you'll still make it. Now from here, we're going to go over here, into this little corner here, because for some reason if you go in this way, you actually cannot enter here, just an invisible wall. If you go this way, you can. Running over this way, you then go right over here, and you want to go in that direction. The easiest way to do this is from this spot right here, by sprinting, you jump, pod spin, jump, pod spin, and you'll see the objective update. The way I do it is the following. Okay, so I change the position on my fingers while sprinting. I do heavy, punch twice, jump, pod spin, jump, go over this way, pod spin, dash, pod spin. Now from here, we go over here, use the items, go to all items, use 2 of these, go over to skills, go to plugin chips, and then click automatic. Set that as the chip. Essentially, if you see a support chip get equipped, that means that you have taunt. If you don't see one, you don't have taunt. And then you exit out. And skip the cutscene.
What is this?
There are 2 different ways of doing this part. I just do it this way.
Don't listen to them, TV.
I like it this way.
They don't have any feelings. They're just imitating human speech. Let's take them out.
Alright. To better explain what's going on is, we need to kill a total of 9 characters, 9 of those enemies before any of the next part starts. So the way I do it is I go right side and kill the one who's having a carriage, the 2 that are on the ground, and then the 2 that are basically in a line. You can use a pod laser, or you can just dash punch them. Doesn't matter which. Pod laser is sometimes more consistent. You just taunt them and a laser will kill them in one hit, but they can also ninja you. Just be wary about that. Now from this point onwards, you kill that one guy, and you need to kill as many guys as possible to hit a fairly decently high level. Specifically, you're trying to get one item for this entire section. That one item is shockwave. Only one enemy in this entire part drops shockwave, and it is the bipeds that look like they're wearing some clothing on. And bipeds are the ones that walk around. Stubbies are the ones that jump around. So you basically want to kill all of those guys and hope that they drop the chip shockwave. If they don't, I will just go and no. Okay, so to explain what was happening there, enemies say this cannot continue about, I think it's 10 times in total before a cutscene starts. So you want to self-destruct right before that cutscene starts, so you kill as many enemies as possible, and basically loot their stuff twice. That's about it. You get same amount of levels. Now for troll. It's time.
Droids fly. Fight. Sword. Dodge. Projectile. Deflect.
I think he's evolving. We better finish this quick.
Alright. So to go and explain exactly what happened there. The first part of the fight is just heal yourself up to max HP, get 2 buffs off, and just punch Adam to death. Not really much to explain there. If you have taunt +1 or +2, there's a theoretical possibility that you don't get the cutscene sword dodge shield deflect. Doesn't happen that often, but basically you deal a lot of damage while he's still attacking and you don't really stun him. He doesn't do sword dodge shield deflect, but it's only off of the first attack that he does. Whatever. That's the only real-time save you get. You don't buff up again until he's in the air, or when he teleports back to the ground. If he is taunted, you can use double laser strats, which is what any percent does. You can also just shoot him for a bit. After he does 4 attacks, you shoot him with a laser, and then you can shoot him slightly again, or it's like 4 or 5 attacks. It's fairly consistent. Fairly. May doesn't believe in my consistent strats half the time anyways. So, just don't really take my word for it. Find a strat that works best for you. For me, I like shooting him for a bit and then shooting the laser at him. It takes about the same amount of time as doing slow-mo. So, and you have your buffs up for this next part of the fight, which you then keep until he's basically dead. Not really much to explain here, we're just dash punching. You can slow-mo this part. Jump over there.
It stopped. Looks like we're safe now.
What the hell just
Alright.
happened?
I know. I've never seen
Let's
a
go
machine
through
like
this
that
part.
before. We better report this to command.
Starting from about here. Alright. So going straight over here, you can do a delayed lift to get up over all of these to this part. Normal lift kind of will get you there, but you'll lose time due to the ledge grab. After that, you want to go to the right side, right over here, not directly at this. As if you go right side, you'll just go straight over it, rather than if you go directly at this, you just get stuck. From there, you want to hit this thing right here, and you can either dash punch over it, but it does take some time to get over it. You can also, the other thing, which is what I do, you just jump twice and you're over it, or you can just jump once and you're over it too. From here, you go straight onto this rock, and then right here. From here, you jump twice and dash back
Let's
over.
move to an area with better reception so we can contact command.
You then go straight all the way over to here, and then from here, jump twice, or from the bottom, you can just jump twice immediately and get up here, and then jump twice again. It looks like this. And now you're here. From here, we just push this one time, and then half of one time. Walk right here, see that 2B's head is about right in this spot. Dash backwards, and then do a pod launch, or just immediately do a pod launch. Doesn't matter as to which. I do this way as is easier to line up for me. Then you dash over here, and you can do the normal strat. I've been messing this strat up so much. I'm just gonna do a lift and then a pod launch. A lift, jump, pod launch, dash, hold, pod spin. And now you're here. The other way is you can dash off, jump twice, and then dash again. But because I mess it up so often, I'm just not taking any risks right now. Essentially, what we do is we skip this part where Ninus talks to the bunker and goes like, "Oh my gosh, we fought this random guy," and they just tell us, "Cool." That's it. Amazing cutscene. Happy to do that. The other thing is we go from this spot right over here all the way to here immediately. So it saves a fair amount of time. Next, we go this way. Ninus then goes like, hey, we should take some rest time. And I just go like, no, fucking Ninus.
Operator to 9S. Data upload complete.
Roger.
I also have an incoming message from the commander. Initiating playback.
Commander then goes
9S.
like, hey,
We've lost contact with several Yorha units that were on their way to the surface. Their black boxes are online.
okay,
so
any
we
percent
presume
goes
they're
up
still
that
alive.
tree log. We
We've
found
tracked
out
the location
it's
of
not
their
really that
victims,
fast,
so I
so
need
we
all
just go
Yorha
around it
units
now.
on the surface to head over and investigate. End
Just more
transmission.
consistent, slightly faster,
I heard something about that back at the resistance camp.
since the
Target
plunge doesn't
location
really give you
confirmed.
any
I'm
extra
worried
speed.
about the other androids. We should probably check this out as soon as possible.
You don't look at those guys as you will lock onto them and try to kill them. From here,
Looks
jump
like the
twice,
surface
and
road's
then
been cut off.
just plunge straight down.
Maybe we can get through from underground.
You can also dash
Those
onto the
machines
edge of
out
it
in the
and then
desert look
self-destruct
just like
all the way down.
androids, right?
Right.
But we androids
Both
were
work
modeled
fine.
after our human creators.
Continuing
So why would
onwards.
machines try to look like us?
Jump twice up here,
There's no point trying to
jump
work
6
out
times,
unsolvable
3,
problems.
4,
I
5,
suppose.
6. Press B, lift, jump, dash. Now here, going onto this part is very weird. Usually you want to be about here. You do a lift, do another lift, jump, pod spin, dash, and you're about here.
What are those?
You can also do a pod launch if you feel like it. Doesn't matter as to what you do. I just like pod spins more than pod
This
launches.
is weird.
Continuing onwards, going straight this way. We're not going to care about any of these guys. I currently don't have DLC on, so I don't have to worry about this too much. Now there are currently 2 weaponless strats. One is you can do a double lift off of these stairs. I suck at it. Basically, running, do a lift, do another lift, jump, and you're right here. That way is a lot harder than this way, which is you just look at this table, do a lift, and then you automatically do another double lift there. You can pot spin right here, dash, and then plunge. Now you're out of bounds. Oh, apparently I voided out. Rip music. How did I void out? Wait, where's their void out thing right over here? What the? Did 9S just push me out of bounds randomly? Yes. Okay. Whatever. Anyways, you're now out of bounds right over here. You then just walk straight over into this area. It's like a diagonal angle. Where 9S is, just kind of walk over here. What I do is I hold, or pod, spin, dash over here, pod spin, jump, pod spin, jump, pod spin, dash, and now I'm here. Still out of bounds. You're then going to dash forward to here. Okay. This is where the big stuff comes into play. There are 2 ways to continue forward. One, you do coaster skip. The other, you do half coaster skip. Half coaster skip goes as follows. Just dash over this way, right over here. And continuing onwards, you'll eventually see this. Sorry, show it. Here. There we go. You'll see this wall here and this wall here. Well, you'll still be in this out of bounds area. Okay? I can still get back here. Oh no, I fucked. I'm messing up a lot today. Dash here. There we go. So essentially, you'll see this out of bounds here and this wall here. Well, you're still out of bounds. What you need to do is you need to walk up to this wall right here, walk to the right, and now you've basically done the first step of coaster skip. Basically, this is known as the Let's Play trigger. When you hit the Let's Play trigger, that tank comes out and says hi to you. The next thing you do is you just walk up the stairs, activate the roller coaster, and ride the roller coaster to about there. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do the hardest stuff. So we just go back the same way we came to here. What you do here is you jump and just go up this building. You do a lift, jump, odd spin, dash, and now you're up here. You can do different ways, maybe pod punch and stuff. There's not really any threat. Anyways, we're sprinting, do a heavy, jump, pod spin back, dash. Now you're up here. And you've basically done the let's play trigger part of this. From here, all sprinting, you then hit here and walk back. Now you hear the roller coaster come, jump, and you dash at a specific point to get the coaster to go away. From here, you then jump over here, up here, do a pod launch, while looking down the stairs a bit. Come on. You beat. Pod spin, chest, pod spin. Hit here, walk inside slightly, walk outside slightly, dash, plunge, and go and hit this guy. Taunt him, and then punch him a bunch. If you're behind him, he will just run away from you. You just dash punch him, nothing bad happens from it. Towards the end of it, he loses taunt, you re-taunt him,
You can rest easy now, huh?
and the tank dies.
What's this? Some kind of crystal?
Analysis. It is a core fragment.
Oh, I almost got it. Okay, well that's GG.
Multiple resistance members detected beneath.
What the hell?
2B says what the hell. Click the taunt.
Don't say anything about a
Stuff,
machine like this.
taunt, punch twice, and go back down. Now, fun's up. Weapon swap and attack fun. When the second attack starts, flip the range attack, taunt again. When you see her not have any health, you threshold her. This is a 4 cycle. You can get a 3 cycle if you have a taunt. That's about it. So what the park tank part was, you're trying to get his core so you can get 10k extra gold. The reason why you want 10k extra gold is due to the taunt plus 5 strats, where you need the extra 10k gold to actually buy taunt plus 5. If you miss it, what you can do is during City Engels, you can get the extra 8.75k from getting the meteorite and the silver ore, and just use that instead.
Are we seriously being attacked with dead androids?
Wait, I don't think.
I've seen this a lot.
I'm
Oh.
detecting black box signals. They are dead. They've been turned into weapons.
Oh,
This is all just dash punching in different locations. Next game.
I've almost analyzed the enemy's hacking pattern. I'm going to try to hack it back. Keep it busy.
Apply the buffs again.
You got it.
When she says I must become more beautiful, you have to reapply the buffs.
Alert. Saturation attack triggered by enemy.
I was thinking that was about to happen.
Failure
I
to
don't know
destroy
what
equipment.
the sound is doing, but Why am I? Self-destruct afterwards. Most of the fight is cycle-based except for the second half of it, which is all about just knowing what attack she's about to do and reacting to it
I think
by not doing much. This, you just dash punch, and you sometimes will get through.
so.
If you don't, do pot launch.
What is it?
That machine had some pretty weird things to say, huh? It's almost like it had actual emotion.
Or
The
a
machines don't have
dash
feelings.
heavy.
You said that yourself.
Yeah, I guess.
This is to set up the deathwarp later.
Hostiles.
Pick it up.
You can do a lift and then a jump, and you will basically just hit the ladder about one jump from hitting the top of it. But double jumping is just consistent. Continuing onwards, we hit this cutscene, pause it, and skip it.
So why don't the machines, or the aliens who created them, attack the bunker directly? They originally came here from outer space, right?
Well, there are a few theories about that, but no one knows for sure. Hard to tell what an alien is thinking, you know?
Oh yeah, I forgot to say this. Beauvoir is probably one of the harder bosses
They
in
all
the
have
game.
white flags.
Do
Looks like they really don't
correctly
wanna fight.
because of the fact that there's so much time save that happens from not getting hacked and from 3-cycling her. So basically, taunt saves about 15 seconds during the first half of the fight, and the second half of the fight you don't need to use as many buffs, which saves more menuing time and she dies faster, which is why a lot of time is basically just saved from having a taunt. Okay, this part's simple. You can go this way and just plunge right over here, or you can push this block once and then pod launch through there. It's about the same time, so it's just a preference as to whether you want to just go down this way and around this building, or straight over here.
We can get into the city ruins if we move that box.
Push the box once, dash, pod launch.
Operator 6022B. Time for your regularly scheduled contact.
Look at this guy. Cool. Why not?
2B here. What's wrong?
Oh. There's this operator is kind of blank, but when I asked her out, she turned me down.
I don't read Japanese, but I have actually never seen this one. That's saying that this cutscene is not... Okay.
Honestly,
The
2B,
game's completely fine, though.
I don't know how I'm supposed to go on living.
I am definitely not the person to discuss this with.
It said, if that didn't pop up on your screen, it said ET... That was the same thing. What the heck? Just take a screenshot of that. Post it over in Discord as random pasta.
You leaving would be bad for me. It would affect mission efficiency.
I'm not sure why that's happening. Maybe it doesn't like me doing door hopping, or it doesn't like me loading different
All
maps.
Model D combat units require the assistance of an operator. So,
2B.
that's all. Closing this channel.
So basically, normally you get here really fast, so you can go over here and says, this door is closed, and it cancels the dialogue. So then you go over here, talk to her, and she goes like, oh hey, you out of oil? Well, now you can open that door. Must not know that I was trying to close know that the door was closed. Continuing onwards, you go right over here. Basically, same way going out. Shoot this guy. After shooting him, go and unequip your plug-in chips. Shoot him again while he's thinking about it, and then he goes and attacks you.
Do you believe we're not a threat?
You're...
And now you've died. Rest in peace, 2B. But wait, she's completely fine.
Well,
Because,
what do you think?
you know, just is. Anyways, once leaving that cutscene, you can actually, once leaving the teleporter, you can shoot the guy who's like directly across from you. I think Amei has the lineup of when you hear the first beat on the teleporter. I used to look at when the pod was, but all I know is you don't do it immediately, and you don't do it like after Pascal stops talking or whatever it was. So that's basically it. If you mess it up, you just go over here and punch the kid or shoot him. Poor child. You're gonna get punched later. Anyways, you then go and talk to Pascal, and she goes like, well, fair enough. Once you hear what that noise, you go over here back to your skills, go into the plug-in chips and replug your chips.
2B, this is an emergency transmission from the bunker. We're reading a Goliath-class enemy inside the city ruins. And it looks like there are a ton of other machines there with it. All Yorha units should proceed and engage immediately.
A Goliath? This was a trap. I knew it.
I promise you, we were not aware of this information. I realize the odds of you believing me are
2B, Command is deploying new flight units for us. They just set the coordinates, so let's get going.
On.
So this is just kind of normal. Go along this line to this tree. Now because I messed up, I'm going to grab the meteorite some more. Just know that the other way of going is just going to the right is the way you're supposed to go.
The flight units should be on the roof of that building up ahead. It'll be dangerous, but we're not going anywhere unless we pass through that Goliath's legs. We should be careful.
You're basically going right along this line over here to enter this building. When you're starting from over there, you're basically aiming at the school bus, and then when you're entering this building, you're aiming right about here. Since I'm going this way, about here. And then hitting this ladder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16, because I always mess up the little jumps here. Jump twice, dash over here, hold on, and get through Engels hole. That's Engels hole at least. You can also do the following here. Basically, I actually cannot get back in. The game will not allow me to get back in this fight. Thanks. It's actually really funny. Wanted to show how you do the double lift. There's just a little that's where you do the double lift. So yeah. Continuing onwards, you got this guy, you got a laser, then go and switch to ranged attack, go into 2 pod programs and and now you get finish this part. I killed Engels, that's so cool. At this point, if you don't have taunt, you should have about 3 melee attack ups and 2 ranged attack ups. I messed up and didn't use the animal bait.
Yorha, this is your commander. For the first time in centuries, we've
Go off
intercepted
this
a
log.
signal belonging to the aliens. These are the creatures that are in
And
direct
dash
command
off
of the
it, jump
machine
twice.
life forms
Now
on
you're
this
over
planet.
here.
If we can destroy them,
And then you're
we
trying to
can
get
end
onto this
long
part.
and arduous war once and for all. Our intel team is hard at work attempting to
Then you
analyze
get over
the
here.
source of the signal, but we're not there yet.
Right here, you
We
dash
need
off,
more
punch
data.
twice,
All
dash
Yorha
and
units
plunge.
are
But it seems to be underground. Like way underground.
Oh my gosh, what is up with this black box stuff?
Guess we'll see once we get there.
I feel like it's loading the map because I'm
You're not
going
much for
too
plans,
fast.
are you, 2B?
I'm too fast for Nier Automata. My computer can't handle it.
Look at all these dead machines. Seems like they've been here for a long time.
Alright,
What is this place?
I don't know. There's nothing like it in the database.
now for the fun part. So this fight is basically where you get the first taste of dash punching
You.
and also headbanging.
Look out!
My name is Adam. The aliens you seek are no longer here. They were wiped
Anyways,
out
so
centuries
in
ago
order to attack
by
Eve,
us,
he's level 16.
the
We do dash punches
machines.
because of the fact that once you hit him,
And who
he will
knows?
just get sent
Perhaps we'll
backwards.
wipe out the androids next.
So when
Machines are weapons capable
Adam
of
talks about
evolution.
androids, so that's when you
We
taunt
can
him.
grow. We can become aware. Eventually, the intelligence within our network began to surpass.
But as you can kind of see, I'm just flying backwards after hitting
surprised
Eve.
at how quickly it happened.
You destroyed your own creators?
Oh, there's no need to fret
okay.
about that. They were simple, infant,
I actually have no idea why.
almost like plants, I guess you'd say. They held no value to us.
He doesn't even
but the
have any
humans
guard. He's
do.
so OP.
Now they are interesting
Why then?
because they are an enigma. They killed uncountable numbers of their own kind, and yet loved people. It's fascinating, don't you think? What could possibly drive such behavior? We have dedicated ourselves to unraveling this riddle of humanity, and now we will allow you to assist us. You were made in their image, after all.
Assist you with what?
It's simple. We need you to locate the humans on the moon and bring them to us. We will then
Okay, there we go.
dissect
So now he's dead.
and analyze them. In order
And then we need to
drag
get rid of
their
the small
secrets
recoveries
forth
that we
into
got
the
from
light.
Beauvoir.
Surely you see the attraction.
This just
of
means get hit.
Are you insane? We'd never
That's
do
it.
that. Can you believe this, 2B? This guy's bonkers.
Well, I suppose this concludes negotiations. The only remaining option is to destroy you, the same way we destroyed these pathetic little aliens.
Basically, after you kill him once, you can't really kill him again, so just skip all this stuff.
The
Yeah.
Oh no, the aliens were dead. No, the horror.
Back this way again? What a pain.
Stop complaining.
Yeah.
2B, this is Operator 60. We now have an operational transporter in the city ruins. We're attempting to deploy them at other points as well.
About time we had access to those.
Care to fill me in?
Transporters? They let you transfer your consciousness to a temporary body back in the bunker. I heard some.
You're up. Up next. So
There's what?
Basically, the objective during the Eve fight is you waste your stuff so that you can kill Eve faster. And the aftermath of it is so that when you do the selling portion to Pascal, you don't have to sell as much stuff. You only need to kill Eve once to hit level 11. And then the XP from killing Eve and stuff gives you level 12. I didn't get it, so do that. Ninus gets up here, we talk to him, and then we hit this part right here. And then Ninus doesn't have to say the
Rest a little bit,
weird
2B.
words.
It's been a while.
I'll rest if I feel
Yes.
like it.
Anyways, after that, you then teleport to Pascal's village. because, of course. Oh, I didn't explain that. When you're going up the bunker elevator thing, you can't actually jump all the way up it from just doing a delayed lift. What you need to do is you need to interact with the elevator, do a lift, jump, and then a delayed lift, jump, and then dash. Essentially what happens is that while you're jumping in air, the elevator moves up. This actually moves you higher than you normally are supposed to go, which then your dash basically hits the ceiling. And it's also pretty fast movement. Talk about machines, and then you get to go to the Forest Kingdom. Continuing onwards, we go down here and go into this guy, which is where all the math happens. From here you need to sell all your stuff that is not important. Basically, this meteorite, these machine cores, and those silver ores, but you should have already had all the machine stuff. If you're doing the Tom plus 3 strats, you can keep the HP, skill, enemy data, and minimap. If you're doing the Tom plus 5 strats, you sell these. And then you go down here. I got critical. Of course I did. For some really dumb reason, your fists don't crit. So you have to sell every crit chip. Basically just free money. From here, you then go here and you buy 31, 31, 21, 21, or 41, 41, 31, 31 if you're being nicer. And then you go all the way back up to the top, and the rest are spent on the recoveries. The amount that is required is 27,000 if you have no shockwave chips, and 32,000 if you have shockwave chips. Now mob skip. So when you're right here, what I do is I look backwards, dash, and then I can do a double lift. The way it's done is double lift, jump, pod launch, pod spin, dash, pod spin. So dash, lift, lift, jump, pod launch, pod spin, dash, pod spin. And now I'm outside of the range of the cutscene.
Say, 2B,
What?
when do you think you'll be willing to call me Nines?
9S works just fine.
Well, yeah, but... Man, this job can be pretty rough sometimes, huh?
Forgot it's a
We don't
double
get
jump.
to choose our assignments. And you
Scary
should
stuff.
work on keeping your opinions in check. Yorha aren't allowed to be emotional, remember?
I think some of us are better at that than others. This must be the commercial structure Pascal was talking about. The records say it was once a facility known as a shopping center. If we were human,
I
we
missed it.
probably would've gone
So
shopping
basically
and
you can
such
do
here, right?
a dialogue
No,
cancel
no,
here,
conjecture.
and Ninus doesn't talk to you.
You're so serious, 2B. You know that?
Alert. Multiple machine life forms detected above our position.
Then these guys fall down, and they talk about the Forest King. Just use melee attack ups.
What the heck is the Forest King?
You're getting distracted.
Well, what do you expect? I'm a scanner. Combat was never meant to be my forte. Check this guy. He's just running away.
And that's Emil. Bye, Emil.
Looks like the forest is just ahead. Here they come. Better keep your
So
guard
long
up.
as you don't
I'm
land the
aware of
plunge
how
at the
to
end,
fight.
those guys
You
don't get
just be
scared.
careful.
I will, 2B.
So when you don't see them, you can then start dash punching. They won't go towards you. Not really any differences here between 80% and weaponless. We're just going the same
What
direction.
is with these guys?
Don't listen to what they're saying, 2B.
Now
How
from
are we
here,
supposed to reach that castle?
we need to hit this bridge as fast as possible. If you're scared, go over here and just kind of jump down this way. Nothing too bad. If you're a maniac, you can actually do it from the waterfall. I think that's where Castle does it. I do it from here, which is jump, jump, dash, punch. Kind of maniac. So I do glitchless, which is walk here, you do a lift, jump, dash onto here, jump twice. I think Amei does a double lift over here. Basically, what you do is right here, like so, you do a lift, you do another lift, you jump, you dash, and you just go on this side. Both of them are essentially avoiding this cutscene, which is where you walk over there. From here, you jump over here. Doesn't matter as to what you do at this point. But basically, you want to be holding A while you're on top of this structure right here. And you want to be looking around this area. From here, you dash, punch twice, hot spin, lift, hot spin, jump, launch, hot spin, and dash. That's the way I do it. I think Amei does it a different way. I don't know entirely. My way is that you can dash up this, which is slightly nicer at times, rather than just hot spinning. Anyways, that's how you get from all the way over there to over here using Rainbow Road. If you don't feel like doing that, you can just walk all the way over this way. It doesn't take that much time, and you can even save up there. This is basically free. While dash punching over here, you basically look right over here, and you dash, and you see 2B's legs kind of just into the ground. You then just punch. And then magically you're in here. That's it. And past this wall, you can do a lift. And you go to this column right here. From here, you do a lift, jump, and you're up here. Don't worry about messing up that much. You only have problems if you mess up here. Continuing onwards. And then go here, punch these guys out of existence. Jump over these guys. When you don't see them anymore, you can start doing dash punches again. Then you dump twice after doing a dash. And now you're right next to the baby. Well,
2B.
actually some person.
That's an android. A Yorha type android.
Alert. This unit is currently wanted by Yorha. Annihilation recommended.
Annihilation? But why?
Let's go, Marinette.
2B?
Okay, so this is the easiest boss in the entire game for weaponless, and here's why.
Bunker to 2B and 9N. We've picked up a signal from the black box of a fugitive known as A2. What you see in front of you is your enemy.
But she
deserted us. She's destroyed multiple pursuit androids. Now kill her before she kills you.
You can just stun lock her forever, and she has nothing that she can basically do to combat this. There is literally nothing she can do. Just that whenever you get hit, remember to heal yourself. That's the only thing.
Let's go after her, 2B.
not much to explain there. Okay, so there are two ways out of here. One is you jump over here and get 9S over here, and then just do a partner dialogue cancel by talking to him and then walking off of this bridge. The other way is over here. Lift, then do another lift, jump, pod launch, and dash. A little bit more tricky, as you have to have the right height. And you get to here, and travel back to Pascal's village. Not really much here to do other than when you're leaving, you shoot or punch a kid. That's it.
It'll be faster.
Let's stay sharp and head back to the resistance camp. We should run a check on our consciousness data and resupply.
It doesn't save that much time, but it saves a bit. You can interact with the transporter earlier. Also, I hit Pascal. Rest in peace, Pascal. Okay, so from here, 2B goes like 9S. What the fuck? Basically.
9S. Why did you ask Pascal about
Yeah.
A2?
So we're not going to
It's
give
not
a shit
recommended
about
to
any of this
interface with
dialogue.
machines without consulting command.
And we're going to go right over here.
I know.
You can slow-mo, or you
Though
could
I
just
suppose such
not
intense
slow-mo.
curiosity
There are
can be
multiple ways of
admirable
doing this.
in its own way.
I like this way, which is you stand here and self-destruct a bunch of times.
Thanks, 2B.
Still, machines are the enemy. Don't forget it.
And then 9S is here. Walk forward slightly. And you hear the word proposal. You don't hear that, you know, something bad happened. You wait, and then you mash. To explain all the things that just happened. Essentially what you're doing is you're buying one Tauntless 3 from Emil. If you didn't do roller coaster skip, or coaster skip. Otherwise you're buying 4 Tauntless 3s from Emil. And the way this works is you're canceling the dialogue where Operator 60 talks to you about flowers. Then when the pod talks about proposal, you should go and shoot Emil.
Notification received from access point.
When the pod talks about how you should go and shoot Emil, that cancels the dialogue of Operator 60 talking to you about investigating communications, which delays it a bit. So then you go and talk to Emil, which you then menu the tauntless him. You let the dialogue stay for a bit, as that will override the dialogue for investigating communications, and you will basically get that started without you ever hearing the dialogue or the quest investigating communications. Anyways, next part you need to do is you need to fuse these to Tauntless 5. That's it. From here, go into the skills, go right over here to plugin chips, customize it, press the optimize button, go down to support, equip Tauntless 5, and if you ever had a shockwave chip, you would equip that as well. Next we go talk to her. It was like, oh my gosh, bad things are happening over in this location, you should go and stop them. And then we just go like, okay, that sounds interesting. I'm just gonna go over behind the resistance camp because I feel like you go behind it. From here, we need to basically go straight there. There's like a teleporter there, but we don't want to actually activate the teleporter. We want to activate a cutscene. So to do this easily, dash off, heavy, punch twice, wait a little bit, do the hot spin, look upwards, and then jump. Go towards the house, hot spin when you see the bottom of the house, and then I missed it. Do this again. So it's a dash and then heavy, punch twice, wait a little bit, hot spin, jump, go towards the house, hot spin, dash, hot spin, jump, F, hot launch, hit the cutscene, and then SD. And look to the right. You see that? Hot spin, dash, and plunge, if possible, if not
Let's
possible.
take him out already so I can be home in time for dinner and a bath.
Androids don't need to bathe. As long as you perform regular cleaning and maintenance, bathing is unnecessary.
Yeah, but come on, TV. It still feels good. I think that's the last of the machines.
Alright, short fight, explain a little bit. These stubbies right over here can all die to one laser shot, which is really nice, but I usually will hit their shields, so I usually break off the shields first, then shoot them with a laser. The flyer, when you have topless fly, dies really fast, basically anything, so basically all you do is shoot it, and then after shooting it, you hit it with punches, and then it just dies. These guys that have shields over here, the medium bipeds, you need to do 2 dash punches onto it, hit them 3 times, both of those. And the big reverse jointed medium biped, you basically just taunt and then punch them. Not really much to say, as you're doing dash punches at this point, as the current level you are at is 13. Now we are going to skip this entire section because I don't feel like doing GRUN. Skip it, go to 100. So to act as though GRUN has actually occurred, the amount of items I now have, say that I lost some medium recoveries there, I lose 4 during this entire section of these guys, and that's it. In that terms, your player level goes up to about 16, and that's really all that happens. Look over here, dash, jump, hot spin, jump, hot spin, dash. Look at here. You can plunge anywhere after the little ledge on the building. You'll just get teleported here. It's faster than just dash punching over here. And then for this part, you need a dash punch all the way up to the top. Oh yeah, I should do that. Okay. Just because I'm going to be doing a lot of dash punching, let's get shockwave. So pretend that I randomly got shockwave by me adding every single chip in the game. Hey look guys, I got a shockwave. Shockwave essentially just shoots the shockwave out on the third punch. So, dash punching looks like this, shockwave.
Bunker 2B.
2B here.
And that's it.
We've got a number of broken down access points on the field. The cause appears to be an EMP attack from a gigantic machine life form. If you encounter any offline access points, please repair them for us.
Understood.
During that part, you basically are just trying to make sure that you get down there as fast as possible. So you SD right when you hit the rock ledge, as that will just continue down the rock part of it. Alright, time for mansplaining. Great. This is gonna be fun.
What is this?
Analysis. This area is composed of crystallized silicon and carbon.
What's with the corpses?
It is unlikely the Yorha units came this far on their own. Hypothesis. The enemy must have placed them here deliberately.
Great. This is gonna be fun. So we go over to this corner right over here. Change the keyboard mouse.
Love,
Walk forward,
family,
aim up around here,
religion.
dash on top of this, and we
The
clip
more human records I unearth, the more charmed I am by their complexity. This city is one of many areas I created out of a desire to understand, to know humans. It's grand, don't you think? Almost spiritual. And yet it's currently nothing more than an android graveyard. I seek to learn and adopt all facets of humanity. Some desired love, others family. Only then did I realize the truth.
Proposal. Prioritize search for 9S.
I know. Let's move.
After you hear only then, you can then cancel his dialogue,
I have severed my connection to the
which
network.
then just cancels like everything.
Now, let us embrace death.
So taunt him, when it's taunted, immediately clip all your chips. You have taunt +3.
I don't have time for you.
Please
I
know that you have
find
to
9S.
you buff yourself after this part. When you have taunt +5, you can do the risky strat and not rebuff yourself. So, you worry about that.
Come to me!
And that's that part.
Damn, you're there. Oh, well, nothing. No. Oh, come back.
Oh, they got it. I'm gonna walk slightly more. Okay, there we go.
Analyze current trends among the machines. Huh.
I forgot to save
Something
again.
tells me
Well,
this is going to involve a lot of killing.
Proposal. Procure information from the machine life form known as Pascal.
I suppose he might know something. Pascal, can you hear me?
Oh, hello, 2B. Did you need something?
I need to know if you've seen any new trends or behaviors among the machines.
I wanted to redo mansplaining a bit.
Well,
So I don't think I
2 days
explained
ago,
it
I was
well enough.
contacted by some machines that disconnected themselves from the network. They wanted to discuss a
You
peace
just
treaty.
give me a second.
No kidding.
Apparently, they're seeking to form an alliance of some kind with our village.
If that's what they want, why don't they move in?
I believe they're working on building a colony of their own.
You don't say.
Indeed. Apparently, it's located in the abandoned factory. I can give you the coordinates if you'd like.
Please.
I was actually planning to go speak with them myself, you know. Maybe we can meet up over there?
Sounds good.
Target location data obtained. Marking on map.
Okay. So just going back to basically mansplaining. Oh yeah, don't worry, Nines is right there. It's fine. What we're doing is we're trying to basically clip out of bounds by looking at this rock feature. So we're going to keyboard and mouse. And there are currently about a couple of lineups. So if you look right around here, you'll see the change to controller. You'll see this line right here. Line up with about this line here. It's about there, it's not exact, while still walking forward. Then what happens is you do a lift, dash, punch. Is that it? There we go. And you'll clip in. The other way is foot. So basically there are two ways of clipping into this. The first is your body actually like just legitimately clips into it. The second is your right foot hits the top of the cube. Those are the two ways of clipping into this. That's the height mechanic. The next part is just somewhere over here. The other part is like somewhere over there. Maybe like slightly even closer to there. Sure. That's essentially the locations that you can do mansplaining. The easiest one, the one that I just mostly remember, is this one. Line up about there, and then just lunge. This is probably one of the harder tricks in the game, but just know that it's because of how the lineups work. Alright, let's go back to this part. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, just write it in chat. I will try to answer them as best as possible. likes trying to save a frame.
The language contains many ways to hide one's true intentions.
It certainly does.
So basically, Pascal talks about something. I don't like hearing it, so you can just talk to Pascal before she starts talking about it. And then about the time that you're halfway down the elevator, it's actually really early on because these elevators are lies. They're like 10 feet. So just cancel it. Now here's a really long set of complicated things that happen in a very short period of time.
Peace treaty?
So what we're first going to do is we're going to slow-mo and dash over into the top left corner of the map and then try to pod launch into this out-of-bounds area. What will happen is that you will void out from doing this. And when you void out, you reset the map, which kills all the enemies on it, which then tricks the game into thinking, oh hey, you've unlocked this elevator. So then you open the elevator right over here by clicking on it. And you can either slow-mo or just dash around in a circle. I like dashing around in a circle. And then the elevator opens, and Pascal just runs into it. From here, 9S is going to go like, whoa, 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 to be. Then he says some other things, but I don't care that much. So then, after that, we're going to do a lift, jump, pod launch right into here. If it doesn't work, you just plunge. So what I mean by that is, if that fails, you do a lift, jump, dash, and plunge. Sometimes you can flip it. But essentially what's happening is that 2B is moving at such a fast rate, it's already so high up that she can just somehow clip into there with a plunge. Don't worry about it. Anyways, you void out, you reset the area, then you can go back into this elevator. All the way up. We don't care about 9S. It's a weirdo. Let me go over here. Onto this set right here. Do a delayed lift, you jump, and then you dash. Now you're up here, and you do a plunge right over here. Okay. There are two ways you can do this next part. One, you just do the normal way, which is you plunge right over into that area, and, you know, have fun. Two, you do Factory V2. Yes. You do Deep Factory version number 2 over here. What you do is you hold, pod spin, look over, hold again. When you see this, you pod spin, you dash, and you plunge. You then heavy SD, and you hold, and then you get as close to elevator, the door as possible. Almost got it. But anyways, you hold on, you hear the doors open, keep moving, you teleport all the way back up there, and then you just do some holding. But if you get down here, no matter. You go normal ways to just plunge down over to this silo anyways. You go down over this way, activate the door, you go up over here, go through this weird complicated thing, which you then just do a lift. You do a lift this way, jump here, another lift, jump over here, and then you just jump over here. Then you hear these crushers. Oh my gosh, these things are so scary. Then one goes down, you can just solo it. I'm just gonna. Now, you can't really dash punch during this section because you're going to be auto-locking onto that guy up there. This game's weird.
Exit route secured.
And then you get all the way over here. Here, the exit route being secured, and then you activate this elevator, shoot this guy right over here. The Pascal gets so scared that there's a guy hitting in the safe point, and then you go right over here. Pascal, I'm so scared of everything. Why? Anyways, then get in here. Stuff happens. And then, oh my gosh, the ladder went up. No, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna run around and circle around Pascal. Try to get Pascal dizzy.
Alert. Energy shield detected over enemy unit.
Nothing really happens during this part.
Analysis.
No joke, literally this is
Range
just all that
attacks are
happens.
inspected.
Oh, now what?
Large
Not
energy
really much
supply
to do.
detected within this factory. Proposal. Energy source should be destroyed.
9S, that Goliath we just encountered.
I got it. I've been keeping an eye on you. I'm gonna shut off power to the factory now.
Do it!
Factory system at 80% control. Hang in there, 2B. 90%. 92. 95. 98.
I'm not kidding, there's just not much to do on this part. Okay, now you buff up.
2B, I just shut down the electrical grid.
Slow-mo,
Shield deactivated.
and hit his shield off. And taunt the shit out of him, and you just punch him. If he's taunted and stuff, then he'll die really fast, and then that's it. What Amei does is he just goes and punches him normally. That's scary. I don't like that. So I just slow-mo, take out one of his legs, and then zero psycho. Consistent. Now, to speak of very inconsistent strats, you can do Shabu skip. You really feel like it, you can do it. You don't feel like it, don't do it. You'll usually just lose time. I just do it in runs because it's just a fun thing to do. Basically what happens is you run right into this corner, you do lift, jump, dash into this side part, and then you just go right here. Magically. I always forget which angle it is. But basically you can use the flashlight as an angle indicator. Say like where you need to be. But the easier one is when the flashlight is, no joke, just like right in front of you instead of behind you. Flashlight, go in front of me. Go in front of me, you piece of... Oh, whatever. I guess it won't go in front of me. But if it does, then this thing becomes a little bit easier. at least for me. But none of that really matters. Anyways, when you're dashing, you can then just go all the way around here, because you'll be sprinting. And you can go all the way down these stairs while sprinting. And then just dash punch this last part. And then from here, it's the same stuff as before. Except for now, there's only two options. Go here. If you miss it, you jump twice and then do it. And then just go normally. You can't dash punch during this part, because if you do, you'll fall in the lava. And you know, that loses time. Lava isn't good for your health. But somehow you live from being burnt alive. Okay.
That was certainly something. I had no idea such a vast space existed beneath the abandoned factory. I need to return and investigate as soon as possible. When I do, perhaps you'd be willing to join me?
No thanks. I'm heading back to the resistance camp. What about you?
Oh, I'll probably wander back to the village. I have plenty on my plate there.
I see.
This is the resistance camp.
Say again? I'm not receiving.
Scanning for interference.
A machine requesting a backup. Forces in range. Please, we can...
Let's move.
I don't really want to look at any of these guys, because if I do, I will auto-lock onto them. That's why I move the camera every so often, because I will be dash punching towards these guys. I don't want to do that.
Laser relay system.
Basically, if 2B doesn't see the person, she doesn't want to attack him. It's like they don't exist anymore. And then, well, there's these guys right over here. You know, they're nice guys. We're just gonna slow them.
2B! You make me... Go.
And then nobody cares. You can jump, so you can. I realized I scared these guys earlier, but shockwave is basically the part in this entire thing that makes this actually like fast. Wait, I don't have hot C. Thanks, face jumping. For this part, you just taunt him like easier. Because why not? And I am going to save the game at this point right here. And I am actually going to exit out of it. Because the next part of this game does break when you hit the final boss. And since this is essentially the last place I can save it, we're going back to the normal fighting part of this game, just to show it properly. Alright, so the final bosses of this game, well, the final parts of this game are as follows. You have Boku-shi, Core 1, Core 2, and Eve. Boku-shi is basically the same thing as So-shi. You hit one of its legs off, it gets stunned immediately, and then it dies. That's So-shi. Core 1, there are 2 strats. One is you aggro it to a corner, deal some amount of damage to it, and then self-destruct and kill it. You can do this with Taunt plus 3 and Taunt plus 5. Taunt plus 5 is a little bit easier. Just taunt it, laser it once, and then switch to the other laser to self-destruct and die. It works every time. I think Amei shoots it a bit while taunted, and then does a self-destruct. It doesn't always work, because it's hard to know if you've hit something when you don't have any damage values on it. Any damage values on 2B. After Core 1 is Core 2. Core 2, we don't self-destruct at all because it's actually faster to shoot it down and then to melee its core to death than it is to self-destruct. The only actual thing that we could theoretically self-destruct is the guys out in front of Pascal's village, but those guys are also easy to kill with 1 to 2 laser attacks. So it's not really worth it. After that is Eve, and Eve is just a fun thing to talk about when doing it. First, Boku-shi.
You again?
And Boku-shi's dead.
This is never going to end.
Hypothesis. The class enemy screen has summoned the local machine life forms. Proposal. Destroy the
You okay?
I'm fine. Let's take
Okay, I
this
heard it,
after
so
dark.
laser. Next. Oops, wrong button. So that's basically how you do it. Again, Amei just shoots it. Shooting it is faster, but it's not as consistent.
They're still coming? What do? There's too many.
Chubby, can you hear me? Our village is under...
Pascal? Come in, Pascal!
Shit!
I wonder if this will actually affect that part of the game. Don't think it does, but I don't remember.
Damn it! They're here!
At least 9S swearing. One.
It seems the machines on the network have gone berserk. They sealed off the entrance to the village and are trying to hold them off, but with these weapons, there's only so much we can do.
Let's take these guys out first.
Okay, from here, only use those. Haunt it. Dash punch it.
You saved us.
Didn't do it enough.
Thank you so much.
What happened here?
It's not necessary, but it's fun to do.
Same moment. I think the unit presiding over them may have gone mad.
It's Eve. It's gotta be.
If we destroy this presiding unit, will it stop the rest?
Most likely, yes.
Pod, I need you to locate Eve's current position.
location has been detected.
If Core 2 dies
We'll take
near
care of
Pascal's
You
village,
just worry about keeping
then
the village safe, okay?
skipping this entire cutscene part is a lot worth it. If it's not, then it's not really worth it. Anyways, continuing onwards. Condom. Die. Lock on. Okay, now we wait. Thanks. Thanks. Just because I know Eve is a troll. Like, I know he's a troll.
Massive energy signature detected.
What is it?
Oops, really.
The energy seems to be coming from a large number of linked machine life forms.
He's absorbing the life force of whatever's left on the network.
We'll never get anywhere like this. I'm going to try hacking into Eve and shutting him down. Back me up, 2B!
On it.
Enemy unit cut off from network functionality.
Okay, to explain what happened there. We can slow-mo Eve while he's regenning his HP. So while we're doing that, we can then cancel dialogue that's happening by doing the same thing we did during Engels. And essentially what that does is Eve now has doesn't have full HP, and because he doesn't have full HP, 9S hacks him and immediately finishes the hack. And because of that, it essentially skips this next phase of you just bringing his HP down. This part, Taunt plus 3, you have to deal a ton of damage to him before you can self-destruct. Taunt plus 5, you taunt him and then self-destruct, and that's it. So there's the taunt. Now you just have to wait for an attack. That one's not a great one. That one's fine.
Alert. NFCS destroyed. Close range combat no longer operable.
Now continue onwards. Heal yourself. And hit him. Back if you. Back. Nice thing about taunt plus 5 compared to taunt plus 3. Get hit. Well, heal yourself because you get critical.
NFCS destroyed.
If you have taunt plus 3, you don't get critical during that section.
I must have been corrupted when Eve
And essentially,
network.
that's basically it for Weaponless.
No.
Most people think that you use a lot of self-destructing everywhere.
Data from the bunker.
You use about as many self-destruct
That
as
exists at
any
this very
percent.
moment.
Guess so.
So
But we can't.
that's the really nice thing.
Corrupted data to the bunker.
It's mostly just combat with bare fist rather than blowing yourself up a ton of times. And that's basically how you do it. If you guys have any questions, I'll free to answer them and try to show it off again. But that's it. So, GG's.
guess we're gonna shout it loud, even if our words seem meaningless, like I'm carrying the weight of the world. I wish that some way, somehow, that I could save every one of us, but the truth is that I'm only one girl. Still, we're gonna shout it loud, even if our words seem meaningless. It's like I'm carrying the weight of the world. I hope that some way, somehow, that I could save every one of us, but the truth is that I'm only one girl. Maybe if I keep believing, my dreams will come to life. Come to life.
I like the weight of the world too much to skip that. This would be 9S, probably. Oh yeah, it's 9S, okay. I forgot to talk to you about the advanced combat strats that are used in like 1 or 2 situations total. So, go here, go to chapter select, and go to the songsters. First, a theoretical strat that I don't know if it would actually work, but it seems likely. And then an actual strat that I use most of the time. Two-B says, what the hell? And continue always. So before I go onwards and actually wreck this boss. Oh, that's right. There we go. Enemy does not take any damage. Okay, and I don't take damage. So essentially you shoot this, you taunt it, and what happens is, while this is happening, you're switching backwards and forwards, and you're essentially riding this back over here. Next, shoot it and jump twice, in SD. Then you slow-mo. And essentially what that would do is that would skip the phase of this part. If you thresholded her enough. Which saves approximately 18 seconds. Compared to basically missing it and having to wait the laser cycle. Now the theoretical strat. This is mainly just due to the fact that I suck at the airborne combat a fair amount, but it's theoretical because it could possibly be one cycle. Tubi says, what the hell? That's it. Okay. So, Tubi says, what the hell? You equip, you do your ranged attack buffs and stuff. Then you taunt it, and you slow-mo.
Like this.
What you're doing during the slow-mo is you're doing the triple punch. Which is you're punching and weapon swapping, or just punching twice. And then you threshold him there. You got about 19 seconds to do that. And if you have taunt plus 2 and you use your buffs, you could theoretically get it done in 1 cycle. Otherwise, it possibly would be 2 cycle, but I don't know if 2 cycle without slow-mo is slower than a 3 cycle. Or 2 cycle with slow-mo is slower than a 3 cycle without slow-mo. So that's currently untested, but can be theoretically done. Now for Eve. Okay, so I forgot to do this because it's been a while since I've done this. But what you can do during the Eve fight is you can slow-mo him so that when he's about to kill you, he doesn't.
Why did you kill my brother?
Essentially what happens is when Eve hits about the halfway point, he then does platforms and goes up there. So what we can do is we can slow-mo him by using this and then dash punching. Mess up all this stuff. That was a lower level. And that'd be the idea. When you're done with that, you can then hit him twice with the laser. So then he'd either immediately come down from here, or he'd go up and then drop down, or he would never go back up. That should be it.
Alert. Massive energy signature detected.
What is it?
The energy seems to be coming from a large number of latent machine life forms.
He's absorbing the life force of whatever's left on the network.
Damn it! We'll never get anywhere like this. I'm going to try hacking into Eve and shutting him down. Back me up, 2B!
Protecting Unit 9S while he hacks the system.
The enemy is connected to a vast network. Analysis. The actions of Unit 9S have an unacceptably low probability of success. Proposal. Unit 2B should abandon Unit 9.
If 9S says he can do it, then he will!
but those are the two main locations that you can use slow-mo effectively and skip basically platforms or a cycle. Atom Pit currently is not fully done, fully consistent using slow-mo there, so that one would need more testing. And that's basically all the more advanced combat strats that happen in the game, I guess. That's the only other thing I kind of would need to explain is when to do the weapon swap for 2B. Keep getting 9S. 9S sucks. Get out of here, 9S. Oh yeah, fun fact. Don't do Weaponless with 9S. He's terrible. His best feature is he has a pod. Other than that, Weaponless is fun. Okay. So, when you're doing the punch-punch weapon swap strats, essentially what happens is you're punching twice, and you're trying to just skip these last two animations because they're slow and they don't deal as much damage as these first two animations. Whenever you do a weapon swap, you reset 2B's animations back to the beginning. So, the question then is, when do you do the weapon swap? The weapon swap happens when 2B is doing the second punch. If it's too early, then she'll still do the first punch. If it's too late, she'll do the overhead. Fun fact is you can just spam this. It's just fun to watch. But no. But that's essentially what's happening when you're doing the weapon swap 2 punches. You're just punching twice, and then you're weapon swapping while you're using your second punch. As for the jump one, you can do punch, jump punch. So press weapon swap at the frame later, then after you do a light attack. You'll do 3 punches while in the air. You can do this twice. I'm just not really that good at it. And this leads to dealing more damage while in the air against Beauvoir. So it has a higher DPS than just doing 2 punches. Another strat was one that Myth thought of, which is you do 2 punches in the air, land on the ground, and then 2 on the ground. That doesn't work because what happens is the game just interprets that you've actually done the first 2 punches on the ground. So you're now at the next punches. So that one didn't work out too well. But yeah, that's about it for the combat. I guess I didn't really explain this. So if you run in this corner and just go straight, you just fall down into this piece thing, whatever it is. And then you can just dash here. For some reason, there's a hole here you can just dash through. This fence is not really a fence. But yeah, that's about everything. Can't really think of anything that I missed, so. Guys have anything that I should go over about Weaponless? Like why we don't go into this area unless you are doing the super awesome Topless 2 fusion. Actually, you do go over to that area. Because what would happen is 2B will talk about why 9S talked to Pascal, and you have two Topless 2s, so you then would go over here to cancel that dialogue. And then you'd go over here to talk to Anemone about the carrier. And then you'd go over here and fuse your two Topless 2s to Topless 3. Then you'd go back over here and get out. Because essentially works better that way. At least I'm used to having Topless 3 for all the fights after short fight. And having Topless 2 just feels like I'm not dealing enough damage at times. The other one is, why do we not grab this medium recovery that's right here? Because it's not necessary. That's it. Do you need a lot of luck in this game? Yes. But most of the time it just comes from killing enemies in Adam Pet. It's where most of the luck comes from. And getting Topless 2 from flyers. Which, of course, they only drop it at like freaking 2% drop rate. 1%. No, it's 2%. So, thanks, Desert Flyers. Free minute time save if I get it. Otherwise, I'm basically screwed. And then probably everyone's question is, how bad is 9S without weapons? It's just very... I'm not kidding by the fact that his pod is basically his best aspect of him having no weapons. You shoot things to kill them rather than actual combat most of the time. Anyway, I'm gonna end this, so I'll see you guys all later. Have a good day.